have another scary story for you guys. And to no one's surprise, this story was submitted by Dustin. I say this every time, but Dustin, I am so incredibly grateful that you continue to share your work with us, and I am so excited to get into this. The story says, "The man I love died, but I saw him in the snow outside of my cabin last night. The road to the mountain feels smaller than it used to. I grip the steering wheel like it might try to escape my hands. The tires hum against asphalt, a steady drone that should calm me, but instead, my heart just beats harder the closer I get to the ridge. The trees crowd the road, branches knitting together overhead like fingers trying to keep me from turning back. I should have stayed away. I promised I would stay away. But the dead don't care about promises. Elias's face flashes in my mind. Bright, stupidly hopeful, always a little sunburnt. I shake it away. Thinking about him too long has a way of pulling the air out of my lungs. The cabin comes into view through the trees, hunched and familiar as a bad memory. The roof still sags a little on the left side. The porch still creaks when the wind hits. Nothing has changed, and somehow that hurts more than if everything had. I pull into the gravel drive, the crunch echoing like a gunshot. My hands stay glued to the wheel long after the engine stops. I shouldn't be here, but I don't have anywhere else left. When I finally force the car door open, cold air slaps my face. The mountains smell the same, pine, dirt, and something metallic hidden beneath it, the scent that always meant winter was coming. A soft wind pushes past me and carries a sound I'm not prepared for. A hum. Low. Familiar. Threaded through the trees like a memory trying too hard to breathe. My chest tightens. It can't be him. It can't. But the melody, God, it's the melody we made up when we were 13, lying on the cabin roof and naming constellations that weren't real. Don't, I whisper, more to myself than anything else. Don't start this. The humming stops. I swallow hard and I grab my suitcase from the trunk. The porch steps groan under my weight. 1, 2, 3. And I have to pause on the top one because a flash of memory hits me. Elias sitting right there, grinning, tapping his fingers against his knee like he was drumming a heartbeat. I squeeze my eyes shut. He's dead. The whole town saw the body. I saw the body. It doesn't matter what I hear. When I open the cabin door, the air inside is colder than outside, like the house forgot how to hold warmth without him. It feels like walking into a grave. I step inside anyway, because grief makes fools of us, and love makes cowards, and I'm both. The cabin breathes around me. That's what it feels like as I step farther inside, like the walls expand with the cold, like the floorboards sigh under my boots. I set my suitcase by the couch and flick the light switch. Nothing. Of course, the power company never fixed the lines up here. The cabin's been sitting untouched for over a year now, exactly the way he left it. I grab the old lantern from the shelf by the door and turn the knob. The flame catches, soft and trembling, throwing shadows across the room in uneven waves. Dust dances in the air like ash. It's colder than it should be. I move through the living room slowly, the lantern barely warming my fingertips. I try not to look at the couch, but my eyes pull towards it anyways. Elias and I crashed there after hikes, after storms, after long nights we pretended weren't dates. A blanket still draped over the back. I don't remember leaving it like that. My boots echo on the wooden floor as I walk to the bedroom. I force myself to breathe in, out. I open the door, and everything is exactly the same. The bed neatly made, the window cracked slightly like someone opened it and forgot to close it. Elias's flannel shirt still hanging from the corner of the closet door. I reach out, touching the fabric with numb fingers. Cold. Too cold. I pull back quickly and wipe my hand on my jeans. It doesn't matter. It's just an old shirt. A dead man's shirt. I turn to leave, and something knocks. 3 soft, deliberate taps on the cabin's front door. My heart slams against my ribs. I freeze, head tilted towards the hallway. The knock comes again. Not loud, not threatening, just familiar. My breath fogs in front of me. Hello? My voice cracks. I clear my throat. Who's there? Silence. I move towards the living room, lantern held high, flame fluttering with every step. Shadows pulse across the walls. The temperature drops with each foot closer to the door. My hand shakes as I reach the knob. Elias? The name slips out before I can stop it. I hate myself for it. I open the door a crack. Snowflakes drift in on a breath of wind, swirling on the porch. The forest stands quiet, dark, waiting. There's no one outside, but on the porch railing, faint, almost invisible under the falling snow, fingerprints, a set of them, pressed into the frost, fresh, and spaced exactly like someone had been drumming their fingers, the way Elias always did. A chill races down my back. I close the door slowly, latch it, and step away. The lantern's flame flickers violently. For a moment, I swear I hear humming again. So low, I feel it more than I hear it, like a memory trying to crawl its way back into the world. I swallow hard. Maybe coming back was a mistake. Maybe the dead really don't stay gone. I don't sleep the first night. I shove the dresser against the front door like that's gonna save me, then curl up on the couch with the lantern lit beside me. Every time the flame flickers, my heart jumps into my throat. The cabin creaks and settles like old bones shifting under a sheet. The wind claws at the windows, and underneath all of it, barely audible, footsteps. Slow, careful, not on the porch this time, circling the cabin. I sit up, breath caught in my chest. The footsteps crunch through the snow, moving past the front door, then along the right side of the house. My lantern flickers again. I grip it tight and force myself to stand. My knees feel weak, but I cross the living room silently, edging towards the window. Don't look. Don't do this. Just pretend you didn't hear anything. But curiosity is cruel. Like grief, it drags you towards the things that hurt. I tilt the curtain back just enough to see outside. The tree line sits 30 feet from the cabin. Snow is falling harder now, blanketing the ground and my old Jeep Cherokee in white. For a moment, I see nothing. And then, a shape between the trees. Human height, human build, standing unnaturally still like it's waiting for me to notice. My pulse pounds in my ears. I lift the lantern slightly, and the flame brightens just enough to catch the details. The figure stands half in shadow, half in moonlight. I can't see its face, but the silhouette. Broad shoulders, messy hair, hands at its sides, fingers trembling just enough to look familiar. My breath leaves me in a broken whisper. Elias? The figure shifts. It tilts its way the head he always did when he was trying to figure out if I was upset or just pretending to be fine. My vision blurs with tears. I blink hard, trying to wipe them away, but when my eyes refocus, the figure's gone. Just gone. Like it stepped backwards and the forest swallowed it. I stagger away from the window, chest tight, throat burning. No, I whisper. No, no, no. I back up until I hit the couch and sink onto it. My hand shakes so violently I can barely hold the lantern. It's not him. It can't be him. But I saw him. I swear I saw him. A sound snaps me out of my spiraling, something tapping against the window beside me. Once, twice, slow, deliberate. I turn my head, breath frozen in my lungs. Another tap. When I lift the lantern towards the glass, the flame jumps. And there, on the other side of the frost-covered window, are 5 fingerprints, fresh, pressed into the ice from the outside. The pattern is unmistakable. He used to tap my window the exact same way when we were teenagers, sneaking out to watch the meteor showers. My stomach drops. Elias, I whisper again, even though it hurts. The lantern's flame pops, shrinking suddenly like it's struggling against the cold. When I look back at the window, the fingerprints are melting away, disappearing almost as fast as they appeared. Like something is pulling its hand back into the dark. It hits me out of nowhere. 1 minute I'm staring at the melting fingerprints on the window, and the next, I'm back there, at the funeral. Like someone grabbed my mind by the throat and dragged me straight into the memory. The church was too small for his death. That's the first thing I remember. People spilled into the aisles, pressed shoulder to shoulder, whispering like the air itself might crack if they talked too loudly. The coffin sat near the front, closed, because they said it was better that way. I never asked why. I already knew. I stood near the back, hands knotted in front of me like a child, avoiding every face that tried to look at me. Elias's mother brushed past me once, her eyes red, hands trembling. I wanted to say something comforting, something that mattered, but the words stuck in my throat like glass. People talked about him like he wasn't the same boy I loved, like he was some saint carved out of all the things he never had the chance to do wrong. They talked like they hadn't ignored him half of the time he was alive. It made me sick. I kept my eyes on the casket. I kept waiting for him to sit up and ruin the whole ceremony with some dumb joke. I kept waiting to hear him laugh. The pastor said something, a prayer, a memory, a verse. I don't remember any of it. All I remember is the moment they started lowering him into the ground outside. Snow falling harder than the forecast promised. Someone read a poem. Someone sobbed. I didn't cry. Not one tear. It was wrong, all of it. Too quiet, too cold, too final. I waited for everyone to leave before I stepped closer to the grave. The mound of dirt looked obscene, like it was disrespectful for the earth to cover him. I knelt so fast my knees hit the frozen ground hard enough to bruise. My breath hitched. For the first time all day it felt real. I wasn't done, I whispered. You didn't give me time. I wasn't ready. My hands shook. I pressed them into the soil like touching the ground meant touching him. I never told you, I breathed, the words finally shaking loose. I never told you how I... My voice broke before I could say it. The sky stayed silent. The snow kept falling. No one heard me, not even him. And then I'm back, snapped out of the memory like someone let go of the back of my neck. The cabin comes into focus around me. Cold, dark, quiet. My chest aches like I've been punched. I wipe my face and realize I'm crying now. All the tears I didn't cry at the funeral rushing out, too late to matter. The lantern flame sputters again. Somewhere outside in the trees, I hear it. A low voice, singing. No words, just a tune, a melody I know too well. The one we made up as kids. My blood turns to ice. Stop, I whisper, my voice raw from crying. Please stop doing this. But the singing doesn't stop. If anything, it gets closer. The singing keeps drifting through the walls, soft and wavering like someone humming through a cold mouth. The melody threads between the trees, slipping under the door, curling around my spine. I can't breathe with it inside the cabin. So I grab the lantern and step onto the porch. The moment the door closes behind me, the singing stops. The forest stands still, silent, expectant. The snow is falling in slow, gentle flakes that make the world look softer than it feels. My breath clouds in front of me, and every exhale feels like a warning disappearing into the dark. Elias? I whisper, before I can stop myself again. Nothing answers, nothing moves. I step off the porch, boots sinking into snow that should be untouched this time of night. It isn't. There are footprints. One set, bare feet, human-shaped, heading towards the cabin. The prints are deep, perfect, toes splayed slightly, exactly like Elias's feet. The ones he used to complain were bad for hiking, even though he could outrun me on any trail. My stomach drops. Please, I breathe. Please tell me I'm dreaming. But the prints are real, too real. I lift the lantern and follow them a few steps into the yard. They're crisp at first, but then start to blur as the snow continues to fall. I trace them with my eyes, forward, and then they just stop, mid-stride, in the open, as if whoever made them vanished straight into the air. My chest tightens. I take one slow step backward. A branch snaps behind me. I spin so fast the lantern nearly slips from my hand. The flame wavers, but stays lit. At the edge of the trees, something moves. Not enough to see clearly, just a slip of shadow between two pines, tall and still as a figure watching me. My pulse hammers against my ribs. "Say something," I whisper. A plea, a demand. I don't even know. The shadow shifts, and then the voice is Elias's. Perfectly him. Warm, soft. Like the way he said my name when he was half asleep and didn't want me to leave. My knees nearly buckle. I press a hand to my mouth, a sob threatening to break loose. "That's not real," I whisper against my fingers, but the voice in the trees tries again. More confident this time. "Rowan?" Not questioning, calling. My throat closes, my vision blurs. Every part of me wants to run into the forest and bury myself in the sound of him, but something is wrong. Too wrong. The cold around me sharpens, biting at my skin like needles. The lantern flickers wildly, flame straining against the wind. Another step echoes between the trees. Then another, coming towards me. Slow, measured, like someone remembering how to walk. I back towards the porch, heart racing. "Elias, you're dead," I choke. "You can't be." The voice interrupts me. Not whispering now, not gentle. Firm. Close. "Come here." It's his voice. Every note of it, but there's a hollowness underneath, like something wearing him from the inside. I run. My boots slip on the snow, the lantern jerking wildly in my hand. I scramble up the steps and fumble with the door, nearly dropping the light as I shove it open and slam it behind me. The porch creaks. Something heavy lands on it, standing right outside, breathing. Slow, ragged breaths that don't sound like they belong to anything human anymore. I press my back against the door, shaking so hard I can barely stay upright. My heartbeat drowns out everything else. For a moment, the breathing stops. Then, a single knock. Soft, deliberate, at the exact height of Elias's knuckles when he used to tap my window. I clap a hand over my mouth to keep me from screaming. The knock comes again, and a voice, Elias's voice, whispers through the wood. "Let me in, Ro." Sleep pulls at me like a tide, and before I realize it, I'm back in that summer. Our summer, when Elias still woke before the sun and smelled like fresh-cut wood and warm soil. The dream doesn't ease me in, it drops me straight into him. His skin is tan from the week spent working outside, sun-kissed and warm beneath my hands. I can see every freckle scattered across his shoulders, little constellations I used to trace with my fingertips. He laughed the first time I tried to count them all, said it tickled, but I kept doing it anyway. I liked the way he would pretend to be annoyed, only to pull me in closer. His brown hair falls into his eyes as he leans over me, the same way it always did. I used to brush it back without thinking. Now even the dream version of me hesitates, afraid he'll disappear if I touch him too quickly. When he looks at me, those dark brown eyes soften like they always did, warm and steady, and impossibly sure. He kisses me slow, the kind of kiss that makes the whole world fall away, and I swear I can feel the rough calluses on his hands as they slide over my hips. Elias was always gentle, even when he didn't know his own strength. The freckles across the bridge of his nose, God, I forgot how many there were. Or maybe I tried to forget. I love those freckles. They made him look younger, softer, like the boy he was before the world got its claws into him. In the dream, he smiles at me. He whispers my name. And for a moment, just a moment, I get to believe he's still alive, that I didn't bury him, that the heroine didn't take him from me, that I'm not waking up alone. But the light around us starts to flicker like a candle fighting a draft, and I know the dream is about to twist. As he pulls away from my lips, his mouth falls open, and bile pours out on top of me, sweet and sour. I wait gasping, the memory of his touch still burning across my skin. For a heartbeat, I'm still in the warmth of the dream, but then something in the room is wrong. I freeze. There, at the foot of the bed, is a shadow, taller than it should be, still, silent, Elias. But not right. His skin is pale, almost gray in the faint moonlight filtering through the curtains. His dark brown eyes are empty pits. The freckles across his nose seem to shift like they're bugs crawling over him, and instead of resting naturally. I can feel my stomach drop. My hands clench the sheets. No, my voice cracks. I swing my arm toward the lamp and hit the switch. The room explodes in light. The bed groans under me as I scramble backwards. He's gone. No, not gone. Something scurries, too fast, too low to the ground, slipping past the door frame. The shadows swallow him, a scrape of wood on floorboards, and the slam of the front door, and then silence. I collapse onto the bed, chest heaving, trembling all over. My hands shake as I clutch the covers to my face. I don't know how long I sat there, trying to convince myself I imagined it, but I saw him. I felt him, and something tells me it wasn't my mind at all. Morning comes too soon, pale and gray, snow muffling the world outside. I stare at the cabin door, feeling the weight of last night's terror settle over me like stone. I can't stay here. I can't. I pack a few essentials, shaking. My lantern sits unused in the corner. My boots crunch against the snow as I step outside, trying to ignore the memory of the shape at the foot of the bed and the way it moved. The forest is quiet. Too quiet. The cabin stands behind me, smoke and shadows from the night still lingering in the corners of my vision. I glance back, heart hammering, and I mutter under my breath, I have to leave. I have to leave. But even as I walk down the path, a part of me knows that leaving isn't enough. Something followed me here last night, something that knows exactly what or who I want. The road is empty, slick with snow. When I finally stop the car, my hands are still shaking from last night, from the dream, from the shape I saw standing at the foot of my bed. I should be heading down the mountain, back to something safe, back to the world that doesn't creep through shadows and mimic voices, but then a figure steps onto the road. A native man in a thick coat and wide-brimmed hat, snow dusting the brim. A ranger, I realize, though the badge on his chest doesn't calm me. Need some help? He asks, voice low, steady. I explain what happened last night in fragments, trembling, the shadow at the foot of the bed, the prints in the snow, everything. I told him that someone must be snooping around the cabin and messing with me. He nods slowly, listening, then gestures to the road ahead. The bridge collapsed last night during the storm. Too much snow fell on it, and it couldn't take the weight, he says. There's no way down until the snow lets up, and another one's coming tonight. You're stuck until morning. I curse under my breath. I can't stay here. Something's wrong. He holds up a hand, cutting me off. His eyes are sharp, but kind. I know what you think you saw. Don't believe everything in the woods. Sometimes people see things because they want to. Sometimes things want to be seen. I swallow hard. Like ghosts? He shakes his head slowly. My people have had many names for it. Some you're not supposed to say. I call them mimics, old legends around these parts. Shapeshifters. They feed on longing. Takes the form of what you want most, but it's not him. Not really. I shiver. How do I stop it? Don't feed it. Starve the fucker, he says simply. Don't give it reason to linger. I'll check on you before nightfall and again in the morning. You have to stay put tonight. Lock up and don't let it in. I nod numbly, heart pounding. I don't like it. I don't like staying, but I have no choice. The cabin waits like a corpse when I return. Snow muffles the world outside. I step inside and lock the door, but the fear from last night lingers, cold and sharp in the air. I move to the corner of the living room, the corner where Elias's old boxes are stacked. Dusty, unloved, forgotten, except to me. I pull the first one open, and there they are. Letters. Hundreds of them. Every one folded neatly, written in his small, careful handwriting. My name scrawled across the top of each envelope. Declarations of love I never received. Words that he never spoke aloud. I sink to the floor with the box in my lap, trembling. The first one I pick up smells faintly of cedar and ink, like he had tucked it under his pillow for weeks. My fingers trace the neat handwriting, each loop and curl of the letters familiar in a way that makes my chest ache. I sink into the corner of the cabin floor, the box of letters spilling open around me like snow melting into memory. Rowan. I wish I could tell you everything I feel without the world hearing. One day you'll know. I hate that I can't say it, that I have to hide it. I hope you'll forgive me someday. Tears slide down my cheeks. The mimic isn't here, at least, not yet. But it doesn't matter. I can feel it circling, listening, and every word in these letters makes it stronger. I clutch one to my chest. His words burn against me, and the longing in me, the part that still aches, still loves him, feels like a tether. I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the courage. Rowan, I can't stop thinking about the way that your hair catches the sunlight. I hope you know, even if I never say it, that you are the only one I've ever wanted. I press it to my face, breathe him in. For a moment, the grief fades, replaced by warmth, by him. I can almost feel the brush of his fingers against mine, the small, perfect weight of his hand in mine. I read the next. I wish I could tell you everything I feel without the world listening. I dream of us, Rowan. I dream of a life where we're not afraid of what people might say or the time we waste pretending we're just friends. One day, I hope you'll know. The tears come, unstoppable now. I hug the letter to my chest. He's here. He's here. Not in the flesh, not in reality, but in these words, in these lines that I never got to hear out loud. The mimic is quiet for now, lurking in the corners. I can feel it. I know I can. It's patient, waiting, feeding off the ache that the letters stir up inside of me. And every word I read, every memory I relive is giving it strength. I dig deeper, another letter falls out, unfolded, edges curled like it had been read and reread hundreds of times. I see you in my dreams, even when I shouldn't. I want to tell you the truth, Rowan, the things I could never say when I was alive. I love you. I always have. I always will. Please forgive me for leaving before I could. I scream into my hands, muffled, sobbing, because it's too much grief, too much him. And I realize something horrible. The cabin isn't safe. The letters aren't safe. Every single memory, every line of love he ever wrote is a tether, a beacon. And the mimic, whatever it is, whatever shape it takes, is drawn to it, drawn to me. I can't just leave. I can't just hide. I have to destroy it. I have to get rid of everything. I sit in the snow-dusted floor, clutching the letters, heart pounding, shaking so badly my hands ache. The thought of it tastes like both terror and release. Tomorrow I'll start. But tonight I just hold him in my hands and let the grief soak in. There's a knock at the door before I can even start packing anything, sharp and deliberate. My heart leaps into my throat. I pull it open. The ranger from the road stands there, snow dusting his coat, eyes calm but assessing. I thought I would check on you, he says. I step aside, shaking. Come in. Coffee? He nods, and I lead him to the living room. I set the kettle on, trying to act normal while my hands tremble. We sit. I wrap my hands around the warm mug. The letters are on the floor beside me. He glances at them, frowning. What were you doing? I found his letters. I was just reading, I said, while taking a sip of my coffee. He reaches down and picks one up and frowns. These are blank. My chest collapses. What do you mean, Elias? The mimic, he says quietly. It's been feeding on your grief. Those letters, you think they're his words, but they're just the mimic shaping what you want to see. Nothing here is real, but you and I. The room spins. I press my hand to my forehead. I thought... I know, he says softly. I've seen this before. You're not imagining yourself crazy, but it isn't him. He stands. I should get home to my son. It's late. I glance at him, panic clawing my stomach. Do you want me to come with you? He shakes his head. You need to face this. Tonight at least. Plus, I would like to keep this thing far from my kid. Stay alive until morning. I'll check back first thing, but you have to stay inside. I nod, swallowing hard. He leaves, and the door clicks shut behind him. The cabin feels smaller somehow, colder, the shadows sharper. I try to collect myself, deciding a shower will calm my nerves. Steam curls around the bathroom like a warm fog. I step in, letting the water wash over me, trying to breathe. And then I hear it. Behind the curtain. I freeze. My heart stops. The curtain moves. Slowly, something tall and wrong presses against it. A dark shape. And then, its jaw drops open. Too wide. Too wrong. And a low buzzing begins, deep and resonant, vibrating through the tiles and into my bones. "Leave me alone," I scream. My hands grip the curtain, trying to hold it back. It lunges, fast. Arms wrap around me, pulling the shower curtain over my head, suffocating, pinning me against the wall. Panic claws at my throat. I fight. Kick, punch, my fingers scrape for anything solid. The lid of the toilet hits my hand. I snatch it, I swing blindly, and connect. The creature shrieks, a sound that's part human, part metal, something ancient, and slithers back, wriggling through the bathroom window and into the snow and night. I pull off the curtain and gasp for air and stumble out. My boots and jacket are still on the floor. Grabbing them, I throw them on, and I fling open the door. There it is, standing in the tree line, jaw crooked, twisted from where I hit it, buzzing faintly, watching me. It calls to me, not in words, just a warped, guttural echo of Elias's voice. "Rowan." Something inside of me snaps. Grief, rage, fear, all tangled into one fiery cord. I can't let it feed on me anymore. I step out into the snowstorm and march for the work shed. I grab a can of gasoline from the corner. I glance around the cabin, at the letters, the walls, the floorboards. Tonight it all burns. The cabin is so quiet, I can hear my own heartbeat bouncing off the walls. It sounds wrong in here. Too loud. Too human. I unscrew the gas can and start pouring, the smell hitting me like a slap. The liquid splashes across the old pine floors, soaking into the wood Elias and I once tracked mud across after hiking the Ridge Trail. I try not to think about that summer. I try not to think about him at all. But everything in this place remembers him. My boots stick slightly with each step as I make a path from wall to wall. Photographs stare at me from the mantel. Elias on the porch steps. Elias holding a fish he pretended not to be proud of. Elias and me, shoulder to shoulder, smiling like grief wasn't waiting just around the corner. My throat burns. I dump the last of the gasoline, and I back away. It's time. I take a match from the box. My hand trembles. Just one spark. Just one moment of courage or cowardice. I don't even know the difference anymore. I lift the match, ready to strike. And suddenly, I'm not in the cabin anymore. Memories crash over me so hard I stagger. Elias laughing, sunlight in his hair. Elias handing me hot cocoa, our fingers brushing. The way he looked at me once, like he knew. His casket, the silence that followed. I strike the match. I choke on a sob. The match hovers uselessly between my fingers. Stop. I whisper to no one, or maybe to myself. Please, just let me do this. The air shifts. The cold slides in behind me like a shadow stretching its spine. I know it's happening a split second before I feel it. I turn, and something punches straight through me. A sharp, bone-like limb tears out of my chest. My breath leaves me in a wet gasp. The match slips from my fingers, falling. It hits the gasoline. The fire ignites instantly, racing across the floor with a roar. The cabin explodes in heat behind me. I'm dragged out, landing hard in the snow. The cold should be shocking, but all I feel is warmth spreading across my stomach, my blood soaking through my clothes. And then, arms wrap around me. Elias's arms. I blink up, vision blurring, and he's there. He's there, holding me against his chest the way I used to imagine when I couldn't sleep. His face is gentle. His eyes shine like he's relieved that I finally came back to him. Elias? My voice cracks. I'm sorry. tried. He whispers my name, soft, loving, perfect. I don't care if it's real. I don't care about anything anymore. I let my head rest on his shoulder as the world burns behind us and snow drifts over my legs. My breathing slows, my fingers go numb, but I feel safe, warm, loved. For the first time since he died, I'm not alone. I exhale one last breath, sinking into the version of him that I could never let go. Darkness comes soft as snowfall, and I let it take me. Hours later, snow crunches under boots. Voices, one familiar, the other smaller, younger. The ranger and his son appear at the edge of the burned clearing, eyes wide at the sight before them. There I am, frozen, pale, stiff. The fire had gone out, leaving nothing but ash and a cruel reminder of what I'd tried to do. My hair dusted with snow, my lips blue, my hands clutching the remnants of the letters as if I might still be able to hold on to him. The ranger drops to his knees, horror etched across his face. Damned girl. His voice is thick, catching in his throat. His son stands behind him, silent, unsure, eyes wide. He reaches for me, hand trembling. There's nothing to do. No warmth, no pulse. The snow has cleaned me. The mimic is gone. The cabin is gone. I'm gone. But in the stillness, the memory of him, the letters, the laughter, the way he smiled at me, lingers like smoke in the cold morning air. The ranger leans back, face pale, hands gripping the snow. I'm so sorry this happened to you, he says softly. I'm so sorry. The boy doesn't speak. He only stares. And somewhere in the wind that rustles through the trees, there's a faint hum. Not entirely human, not entirely gone. I thought the fire would have ended it all, but in the frostbitten silence, I knew the longing in the woods would never die. I actually hate you, Dustin. I actually do, because you guys, there were so many points in that story where I wanted to just stop reading and cry, which I feel like is a very common theme in reading these stories. Dustin, you always make me so goddamn emotional and you're pissing me off. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful, and I hate you for it. I honestly did not even realize how long that took me to read because I was very invested in this. I absolutely loved that, and I love when stories are able to do that. You don't even want to take a second to take a break because you have to keep reading. You did it again. You did it again, and I know you're gonna keep doing it. God. Oh my God. That's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any stories that you want to share with me or the community, I would love to read them. I will have my subreddit linked down below. But other than that, I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.